People are literally looking for opportunities to save other people's lives in some regard. This is sort of an interesting concept because we all like the hero. We all like the person who stands up for the injustice, who literally catches the thief, or who openly protects people from those monsters of the world who try to do a lot of things to our people. And that's something we have to look at. Today we're really talking about in audiocasts in this series of Magic and Mayhem and Marketing Minutes, how do we profess to have a life worth living and growing into a retirement worth having? Obviously there's a money component to that because in order to have a retirement of any kind in life in this world in which we live, we have to have an income, an education, and employment of sorts, or even run our own business. When we're producing new audio files, it's to help you to look at your life. It's to help you to stop and go, am I on track in my life to the best of my ability to make sure that I have money for my own retirement? You see, the kids of our lives may or may not make it. There are many parents who are very proud of their children. There are others that are jealous of their children. And then there are people who really just don't give a shit about their children and whether or not in their elderly ages they're going to be having anyone around them to really help them to go through the late stages of life where the body changes, where the mind is not as sharp, and where our emotions are sort of a little bit on the naivety side or the younger side of life. I have literally observed this because I visit my mother at an independent living facility and I see a variety of illnesses, a variety of challenges, and a variety of people who are struggling with a lot of things. A lot of them don't have family coming to visit very often, and that puts them in a state of loneliness. So they have all these folks living together, which was a smart idea to help them to have companionship, to help them to have love, and to help them to have peace in their lives. The challenges we have in the world today are literally about people, property, and paperwork. And I say that in different orders because I really think that the different orders make a difference. When we're talking about our personhood, literally our personhood of being a person in this world, we have many rights underneath the U.S. Constitution. We literally have many rights also underneath World Federation-oriented type of literature. And I'm going to talk about human rights today because we've got to get there again. Americans are violating human rights, the standards of the world, and that is something that we should be ashamed of, literally absolutely ashamed of. That is a lesson that needs to begin in kindergarten. Kindergartners, first graders, second graders, third graders, and even maybe fourth graders should all be put through a human rights educational class every single year, without fail. And if the kid doesn't get it in a test, he goes back to the grade before. That's where we begin. The human mentality is the challenge here. That we literally do need to create an education that produces the spirituality of the children and what their gifts are internally, what they've been gifted with by God is absolutely true, without getting overly religious. Religious programming is not at all what I'm speaking about. What I'm talking about is studying that child, exploring what their gifts might be through the play that they do, through the activities they do in educational classes, to help them produce for themselves a life worth living and a retirement eventually that they can afford to have without being in poverty. That's what I'm literally talking about in America. We have failed many children in this world, and that's why we have a lot of sins of the world. That's why we have a lot of theft, a lot of rape, a lot of innuendo, a lot of difficulties in the world, including pornography and other little things, because men and women fail to recognize their differences today. There are literal movements that brought many organizations forward, but they're still clashing and fighting and doing things in a unique way. Now, practically, how do I sound today? I might sound well, I might sound ill, who knows? But in reality, I have the right to speak my mind because that is a fundamental First Amendment right in America. There is a person who literally is deleting my files on my computer. That is not their right. That is not their right to monitor my life, to interfere with my life, or to make me look mentally unwell so that they can gain something in their life. Openly, I'm going to say to that person that God is coming for them. I know that for 100% fact, and it sure as heck isn't me. I am not a murderous type, and I never have any interest in anything like that. The world news have failed completely to educate people on their rights. I challenge a good reporter to start talking about human rights, taking each right of that little document that was created by Eleanor Roosevelt, not really created by her, but, she's getting the claim to fame for it in the various publications online, and start taking those articles and talking about them on a week-long basis, at the very least. Maybe even 2 weeks for one particular article, and start educating the community and changing their minds about their rights, where their rights begin, and where other rights of other individuals begin. You see, where our rights begin and end is the part of personhood that I've literally been talking about. Your right to your body is number one. You have the literal right to say, I will not do this, I will not participate in that, I will not have this in my system, I will not allow this in my cells. That is your number one fundamental right, and physicians need to get the friggin' message. I am passionate about this, beyond passionate about this, because my rights were once taken away by people I loved, creating a betrayal, a ruining of relationships completely, because they allowed physicians to attack the cells of my body. And I will go after that individual later. It is my right to seek legal recourse for having my body violated by people. Now, what about you? Do you feel that way? If someone did something wrong to your body and it ruined it in some way, would you literally go after them legally? Of course you would. There's no difference. The only difference is how you feel about someone else's body. And that's a part of personhood that we must teach. That where my rights end, also have a responsibility to allowing someone else to have rights to their own body. Not mine, not yours, but literally theirs.